Hello, everybody, and welcome to our virtual tax school webinar series. My name is Amar Medic, and I am the product marketing manager for TaxWise. I want to thank you for joining us for a very special edition of this webinar series. Today, we're going to be joined by some of our partners in the tax industry. We will be sharing some tools and resources that can help you complete your returns faster, grow your business, and expand your revenue stream this year. Keep in mind that we try to host one webinar per month, so please be sure to join us in the future if you find today's session to be informative. During the webinar, you'll be able to submit questions to the team and get those answered live at the end. And with that said, I'm very pleased to introduce our host for today, Mr. Ryan Hubbs. He is a solutions architect here at Wolters Kluwer and has years of experience working in the tax industry. Ryan, please take us away.
All right, thank you so much for the kind introduction. I wanted to take a minute and thank everybody for taking just a little bit of time out of their day to attend this webinar. I know busy season is lurking right around the corner. Some of you may have already gotten a little bit busy already. And how we like to set these up is typically throughout the year, we'll go and talk about different schedules within tax returns and how to use TaxWise itself. But since most of you have already purchased your tax software for the year, how we want to go and set this one up today is we've actually brought in some of our partners that we work with that add some additional services to TaxWise that can not only help you get through returns accurately and quickly, can really help with the admin side of running a tax preparation firm as well. And it's going to be me and then two other people will be presenting today. But just to give you all a brief background on myself, if this is the first tax school that you have gone and attended. My name is Ryan Hubbs, and I have my background in accounting. It's what I went to college for. After I graduated, I moved up to DC, and I worked for two CPA firms up there, and I did a little bit of everything. I did some audits, I did some nonprofit work, even some compliance testing. But most of what I did was taxes. So I can definitely relate to the struggle, to the grind of trying to get such a large amount of work done in a very condensed amount of time, and really hoping to show you some tools that are really going to help you get through tax season much quicker. Now, today's objectives and what we're going to be talking about specifically are going to be those ancillary products that go with TaxWise. And we have two guest speakers today. We have Laura Thompson, who's going to go and show off Textellent, and we have Brady Levens, who's going to go ahead and show Protection Plus. Once they have both gone and given a presentation, I will do a quick little demo of what TaxWise Mobile is, how it integrates with TaxWise, and we will then have a Q&A session to answer any questions that you all may have. So with all of that being said, I'm going to go ahead and throw this presentation over to Laura, and we'll be back with you as soon as Laura is done teaching you all about Textellent. Thank you.
Thank you. I think you guys need to make me the presenter. I'm not yet. There we go.
Apologies. Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. It was a good last slide. Okay, let me pull up my screen here and get it on slideshow. All right, there we go. So yes, I'm the VP of Marketing here at Textellent, and I'm going to talk about how texting can really help your productivity, help you gain new clients, service them better, and, save staff time. So I think that will make your season a little bit easier. And I want to just mention that we were founded by a couple who actually, came from the accounting field. They ran 3 tax offices. So this was really designed with tax professionals in mind. And I think you get a sense of that as we go through it. So that's where we came from. So you probably realize that texting is really being used a lot these days, not just personally, but of course with businesses as well. And the reason for that, of course, is that email has really become spam for the most part. So folks miss your emails a lot of times to them. And click rates, of course, are really low. Texts, because they're more protected by spam regulations, are read 99% of the time and considered spam less than 1% of the time. So it's really becoming the go-to mechanism for communicating with your customers, and they trust it because they don't get a lot of spam this way. And if you didn't already know this, 70% of customers and consumers and clients want to be able to text the businesses they work with. And many have already tried to text you and you probably don't even know it. So let's talk about how texting could be a useful tool for you. Now, one of the things we do to make it work even more effectively is we tend to use text to add texting to your current business line. So you're not getting some funky other number that people won't recognize. We can get you another number if you like in your area code and so forth, but we typically recommend you add texting to the current business line you have, and it doesn't change anything about the voice component or voicemail or anything like that. It's just that we're adding texting to it. Whether it's a business line or whether it's a voice over IP line, doesn't matter. So, that makes it a lot more relationship oriented. As you can tell from these messages, a lot of these are automated, yet it still then is a personal conversation. So let's talk about exactly how that works. So we try to think about the entire tax client journey, if you will. How do you potentially attract new clients using advertising, your web page, etc., urging people to text in to learn more about your services. And then we sync with the TaxWise software so that all the clients in TaxWise are automatically syncing with our system, and it happens completely without you having to touch a thing, especially if you're online, the online TaxWise version. So if you use appointments, we also have an appointment setting and management option so that you can send them invitations to make their own appointment if you want, reminders if you want, get them to fill out intake forms and go to your portal to fill out information first if you want that kind of capability. If you are a drop-off, no problem. You don't need those kind of things necessarily. Now, afterward, we keep in touch with them throughout the tax process, if you will, if there's any missing paperwork, and I'll show you that in an example here. And then, of course, if you want reviews, which is really powerful to be able to, get people to see your website first, and then sending them birthday greetings. We have many, many tax clients who send birthday greetings to their clients, and the clients totally love it. So I'll give you an example of that as well. So let's see how this actually looks from a client perspective. So one of the things we do is we look at the information in TaxWise and we say, well, let's invite them to come back 3 weeks before they came back the year before, because that's typically, if they're February people, they usually come in February. If they're April people, it doesn't change much from year to year. So we tend to like to text them and invite them back. And this is a very inviting picture, and we have different pictures, and you can change this message, but all of this is sort of set up as a default for you, and many of our folks don't even change the messages. So not only that, but you can empower them to book an appointment. So they could click on this link. It could be our link, or it could be a third-party scheduling system you link. That works too. And then after that, if you're using our scheduling service, for example, it takes them straight to a calendar page where they can pick a time that's available. They can pick the service provider they want if you have multiple people on your staff, and so on. And then once they do that, they automatically get a confirmation. They automatically get reminders. And that's really powerful. Now, after, throughout the cycle, let's say that it's an easy one, you get it submitted, and now you can ask them for a review. So what we typically like to do here is include a picture of 5 stars. And notice that we're using pictures a lot because they're very engaging and people really like it. So, that's one of the reasons we do it. And then you just put a link to your, Google business review page or whatever review service you use, and you'll be shocked at how many people will just take that message and click on it. And you don't have to have that awkward moment where you're asking them to leave you a review. The same applies to referrals. We can automatically send a request for referrals because I'm sure a lot of you build your business through word of mouth. So this is yet another friendly way, less awkward, to get referrals. And we have seen a lot of people that we serve be able to grow their practice, 20% or more doing these kinds of things. Now, what if you're missing some paperwork? We know that too from the TaxWise software. And we can send a message saying, hey, we still need some documents from you, just to remind them to get that information through, and so that you can speed up the process of doing that tax return and hopefully serve more clients. If for some reason clients aren't coming back to you, you might want to make some sort of special offer. I know some people take a picture of like a $20 bill and they'll send that out and say, hey, we've missed you. Please come back. We'll take $20 off of your return price. Now, I mentioned birthday greetings. You'd be surprised how much this is effective. So being able to send, you obviously have your birthdays in the TaxWise software, so we can automatically send a birthday greeting, and then they think that you've sent it one-on-one, yet all of these messages are automated, and yet they feel like you sent them personally, and that's why they're so effective. And again, a lot of this has to do with the number that they come from, and not that many people send pictures from businesses, so it's also very engaging and sets you apart. Now, if you have other services like bookkeeping, you can send messages to them saying, hey, did you know we also do this? And then a lot of our clients send out a holiday greeting in December or early January because that gets them thinking about you as a key business provider for them. And it's just kind of a really nice touch. And you don't say anything about your business. You just say, hey, I'm thinking of you. Happy holidays. Again, every one of these feels like you sent it one-on-one. All of this can work with TaxWise Desktop as well as TaxWise Online, but there's actually a couple additional capabilities we have for those of you who use the online version. Oh, this is just one other thing. We have a lot of clients who send out alerts when there's some sort of scam going on. That is also a great way to get referrals. So for those of you who use TaxWise Online, once the return has been filed and accepted, this message can go out automatically. I'm sure that would save you a lot of phone calls because people are often calling you saying, hey, when is this done? I need my refund. So another thing that happens automatically is once the refund has been deposited, they can get a message. So again, avoid some of those phone calls and be able to automatically send them a message saying, hey, the money is there for you. So the point here is that all of these what we call campaigns are really just helping you communicate with your client more effectively, not having to send out a bunch of emails, and they notice it right away, and it'll cut down on phone calls you have to make to them and they make to you. So it's really like a virtual assistant, if you will. So how does this look from your perspective? So if you were to notice, we're logged into the TaxWise system here, and there's a little tab here for Textellent. So if you want this service, all you have to do is have it turned on. It costs some money. I'll go over that in a moment here, but your TaxWise sales rep can help you with this. And it's just a tab, and once you click on that tab, here's what your inbox will look like for texting. So you can see, there's contact information on the right-hand side. If you don't have a CRM system, but some people use this as kind of a lightweight CRM system. And you can see in this case, we clicked on this one particular client. You can see all of the conversations that's gone back and forth with that particular client, because you can get them to send you information this way. You can ask a question if you have to. So if you need to communicate with them one-on-one, this is a simple way to do it. And then here's the archive of all the messages that have been sent on your behalf by our system, or any communications with your staff, etc. And you'll notice that it's just basically an inbox. And so you can click on any one of these, and these little tags here, if you want to, you can say, hey, this is one of my really VIP clients, or, this is a client that's brand new, or this is a prospect maybe, right? That you haven't even had a chance to, finalize yet. So that's what it looks like from your perspective. So here's the kind of results we see. The idea here is really that all of these messages are going out automatically, yet it feels like you sent everyone that message individually. So it's really, in this case, if you're somewhere between 200 and 500 returns, this many messages are probably being sent on your behalf if you use these capabilities. And so that really reduces phone calls. And the bottom line is that really saves your time, or maybe you don't have to hire as many part-time staff, and we see extremely low opt-out rates. So clients really appreciate this, and we find that they talk about it in the reviews that they leave for our tax clients. Now, if you're a much bigger firm, you can see how it kind of would increase depending on how many returns you have. In this case, you're probably sending out about 15,000 messages. All of that is included in the price of our product. There's no additional cost for doing that. And you probably save about 2 employees. So that's really powerful. So here is somebody who's actually a TaxWise customer, and she really doesn't have that big of a practice. And she saves 15 to 20 hours a week using these kind of capabilities. So don't underestimate, just how effective it can be and how much time it might save you. And we know you guys are working crazy busy during that time. So one other thing that's probably good to point out is you could do all of this actually from a mobile phone. So we have an app that works on the mobile phone, or it works on a tablet. And so you can be, managing this from the coffee shop if you need to. And that's also very powerful and gives you a lot of flexibility. And then the other thing is if you do use, some kind of CRM system in the background, we have what's called a Chrome extension. Many of you are probably familiar with that, also free, so that if you have, if you're looking at a record where somebody in your contact management system, you're trying to make some notes about them, as soon as you see their telephone number, you can actually text them from that particular point, and it pulls up that inbox, the center part of the inbox I was showing you earlier, so that you can see all the conversations you've had and you can text them from right then and there. So it's very powerful and flexible. So yes, what does it cost? I know you want to know. So these are the packages we have with Wolters Kluwer, and you can see that it's really quite reasonable considering, how many messages and how many campaigns are being run completely automatically. So, you can ask your sales rep about this, but we base it on the number of returns that you typically do. So that's how this works. And you just, click on the website, and I will show you in a moment here. If you want to actually go to this link, or you want to, this link, or you want to use this QR code, it'll take you right to the sign up page. But it's engagetax.wolterskluwer.com/Textellent. So one of the offers that we're going to make all of you that have attended here is we will allow you to do a free text picture blast. So what that means is that, Valentine's Day is coming up. So if a lot of your clients have not been in touch with you yet, it might be a nice idea to send a Valentine's Day message and just sort of say, hey, we want to wish you a happy Valentine's Day. We're here to support you when you're ready. So that could be a really nice touch. And the only time you ever pay extra with the Textellent system, and many people don't have to do this, but we're offering this for free, is when you do some kind of a text blast. So the rest of these campaigns are timed to, what's going on with the tax return and where they are in the process. But this particular blast is something you can do to all of your clients, whether they, have started the process with you or not. So it's very powerful. And again, people just love, getting these kinds of greetings. So if you can sign up today and attend an activation call by February 9th, we can offer this to you. And it's really a nice way to go. Now, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us by wk@textellent.com, and you can call or text us to our group. And of course, you can talk to your GetWise representatives, because they know about this and they should be able to direct you to the right place and answer any questions that you have. But we're willing to help out too if you need that. So that's what I was going to cover today. And I don't know if there were any urgent questions that should be answered, but I'll let you guys tell me.
There's nothing urgent right now, so I think, Ryan, if we want to move on, we can. Thank you so much, Laura.
Yes, if you do have any questions as we get to the end, I'll be here and we can answer those for you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Laura, for going and explaining Textellent. Textellent is one of those products that the more I learn about it, the more impressed I get with it over time. You think it's just texting, you think no big deal, but with the campaigns that you can run, the automation, I really couldn't imagine running a tax practice without having these automated features. It saves so much time. It is such a great product. I want to thank you one more time, and want to remind everybody here that's in the within this presentation today that there is a Q&A tab. So as you have questions that may be popping up, feel free to type your questions in the questions tab, and we will stop at certain segments during this presentation to go ahead and answer those questions for you. But with all that being said, we're actually going to go ahead and turn this over to our next speaker, Brady. And he's going to be going over Protection Plus and what some of the benefits of Protection Plus are going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and jump off camera, and I will send this over to Brady.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Let's see if I got this. Okay, my screen's up. We're good to go. Good to be here with all of you today, and thanks, Laura, for going through all that. I mean, texting is, I guess it needs to be a huge part of all of our businesses. You go back 10 or 15 years ago, and it's funny, none of us would have hardly thought about that being a business feature, but it truly is. We use it in our business regularly because it works so well. But I'm here to talk to you a little bit about Protection Plus today. My name is Brady Levens. I am the Chief Revenue Officer here at Protection Plus. I've been here for, let's see, almost 10 years. This year it'll be 10 years, my 10th tax season. So I've got some things I can share with you about. Oh, Ryan, are we not up with the screen?
Hey, Brady, just want to let you know we can see your screen, but we can see the screen that says next slide, and we can see all the slides down below.
Here, let's switch that. How's that? Is that better?
Perfect.
That way you can
Great.
see.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks, Ryan.
No problem.
Well, good. See, I gave you a preview of what's to come, and but we'll get started. So, Protection Plus has been integrated with TaxWise. I mean, I'm sure many of you have seen it, and I'm sure that a lot of you already use it. And so, for those of you who use it, I hope I can illuminate some new ways we can help you today. And for those of you that haven't, it's a great way for you to consider the services that you provide with your tax preparation. How it can save you some time, how it can provide a truly outstanding service for clients and help you to grow your business. But we've been doing this for over 20 years. We're the leader in the tax resolution industry. We're integrated with TaxWise, with the other Wolters Kluwer products too. But every year there's over 10 million taxpayers that have access to our service here at Protection Plus, and we work with over 50,000 tax professionals to provide Protection Plus to the clients that they serve every year. I'll kind of walk through a little bit about how it works first, but as I do that, I'm going to try to think about and tie it back to your business because it's helpful to know how Protection Plus works, what it does. But what I think is most helpful for you, as we're already, 5 days into this filing season, is how it's going to help change your business this year. And so the three services that Protection Plus includes are, number one, $1 million tax audit defense. And I don't want you to get hung up on that audit word. Some people say, well, I don't get many audits. And I'll be honest, that's pretty true these days. But when we say tax audit defense, that means any letter, any notice, any correspondence from the IRS or the state, we've got a team of experts on hand to help you and your clients with those situations. The second part is identity theft restoration. And that's similar to maybe what you'd consider a LifeLock. And so that helps with identity theft problems, whether they're tax related or not tax related. And the third piece is our $2,500 tax preparation guarantee, which allows you to provide a formal guarantee on the work that you do for your clients and communicate that in the way that you market to them and the way that you get them to come back every year to provide that extra confidence and peace of mind about what you do. So I'm going to go through each of those a little bit. But before I do, you think about these package of benefits, right? And so, tax audit defense, identity theft restoration, a guarantee on your work. Part of the idea behind why our service includes all three is it allows you to present a full service firm to your clients, to be able to communicate to either a current or a prospective client. Every single tax return you file here with me at Brady's Tax Service is backed by $1 million tax audit defense, includes identity theft restoration, and I guarantee my work for $2,500. If I ever have a problem, you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to take care of it for you. And in a world where, especially as tax professionals, we struggle to find messages that will communicate to clients that set us apart from, John down the street or doing something on their own online. These are some truly valuable things that you can provide and present as part of your tax practice to help grow your business. And then, of course, as we'll go through this, especially when we talk about the tax audit defense side of things, it's certainly a way you can save some time on your end too. As I talk about $1 million tax audit defense, what that means is that if your client gets a letter, a notice, an audit, anything from the IRS or the state, so it could be as basic as one of those recovery rebate credit letters, that came a few years ago that just, they were a nuisance, right? And you had to go confirm, all right, did you receive that stimulus? Did you claim it on your tax return? Why did you tell me that you didn't get it and then you did get it? All those things. It could be as basic as something like that, or it could be a full-blown audit, something that goes through tax court and appeals and takes 2 years to resolve. Our program provides this $1 million tax audit defense, which just means that we will provide up to $1 million of our services to resolve any notice, any inquiry, any audit associated with that tax return. Now, the other thing that I like to point out is because our program is integrated with TaxWise, it makes this part of it pretty seamless with how you operate your business already. And here on our team, we've got a big staff of EAs and CPAs. They're full-time employees, all based here, mostly here in our headquarters in Winston-Salem, but some all around the country. And they work full-time all day, every year, just resolving notices, audits, and inquiries. And so they're saints. I'm sure that all of you have communicated with the IRS enough, especially when you have a client that gets a notice. It's a challenge, trying to get a hold of somebody that can actually help you here at the IRS, waiting on hold, making sure that what we present to them that they actually get to see and that they provide a valid response to. It's a bear, and it's one of those things that at least for many tax professionals, it can be cumbersome. It can be a nuisance. It certainly isn't revenue generating for a lot of you. And for those of you that are, it's still worth considering, well, how could I improve the service that I offer to my clients with this? And so one of the things that I like to go through that I'll do here in a second is what that process looks like for us. Because one of the questions I get every single time I talk to a tax professional is, okay, when my client gets a letter or notice, they're going to come talk to me, right? And so how do we at Protection Plus help you in those situations? And so I want to go through our process here because I think that's helpful for you to understand exactly what it looks like when your client gets a notice and you use Protection Plus. Of course, that the notice gets there, right? The taxpayer gets that letter. What are they going to do first? They're going to call you. You filed their tax return. It doesn't matter what you tell them. It doesn't matter if you tell them to call us. They're going to call you whenever that notice gets there because you're the one that filed that tax return. And from there, what you can do is pretty simple. If you have Protection Plus, you can, yourself, you could reach out to us and you could call us, you could email us on our portal. You could open up a case so that we can start seeing what's going on with that taxpayer situation and what needs to be assisted with, or the taxpayer can reach out to us. What we found in working with, all of you tax professionals around the country is that every single one of your businesses works a little differently, and every single one of your clients is a little bit different. And so as we help with notices and audits and inquiries that come in, we try to treat you and your client as an individual. And so, there might be a case where, let's say you've got a client you've had for 20 years, and it's a pretty involved case, and it's somebody you go to church with, and maybe you're like, well, I want to be the face. I want to talk to them through this situation. And so I don't want them to call Protection Plus directly, but maybe let's say it was a cryptocurrency audit, and they've got, 23 pages from a CP notice of all of these cryptocurrency transactions that you've got to go identify basis for, because of course the IRS oftentimes doesn't identify the basis for those cryptocurrency transactions. And so in a situation like that, you could reach out to us, open the case, we can do all the back end work, and you communicate with the client so that you're able to maintain that relationship. But then in most cases, where it makes a whole lot more sense, your client comes to you and you say, hey, great, I've got a whole team of experts on hand to help in the event that you get a notice like this. It's included with my service that I provide to you. So here, go ahead, call this number. We're going to get a case manager started with you. We're going to make sure that we take care of it. You don't have to worry about it. We're not going to charge you for it. We're going to get it fixed. So when they have that problem, you're able to provide a solution that's just seamless for them, and it makes them feel a whole lot more comfortable with the situation at hand. After that case is opened, whether you open it, whether the taxpayer opens it, we prepare what we call a professional case assessment. And a professional case assessment, that's a tool that we use to communicate to both you and your client that explains what the situation is, what we are going to need next to pursue a resolution, and then what we kind of expect to be the case as far as a timeline and what outcome we think we can get to. And we do that in a way that makes it very easy for a taxpayer to understand, which is enormously helpful for them because unlike maybe you or I, they are pretty scared, right, when they get that tax notice. There aren't a whole lot of people that have power over you and have that authority over you after you get to be a full-fledged adult, but the IRS is one of them. They have a lot of things that they can do, and it creates a lot of fear and anxiety in taxpayers when they get that notice. And so what we try to do with that professional case assessment is say, hey, here's what's going on. It's going to be okay. Here's our plan. And so we do that at the first part of every single case. Then, in most cases, we're going to have to do some additional document gathering. We're probably going to have to, let's say that there was a Schedule C that was being audited. Well, we're probably going to have to get some documentation to show that these expenses were legitimate and they matched what was there in the tax return. And so we'll go through that process. We do that whole back and forth is the idea, to save you that time, because we know that one of the biggest draws on your time is that it's trying to get all the information you need from a client, especially in a situation like this where they've already filed their tax return and something happens after the fact. Finally, we create what we call a portfolio. And a portfolio is what we send to the IRS or to a state taxing authority. It's going to have a nice cover letter. It's going to have a table of contents. Everything's going to be sorted and organized the way that the IRS or the state likes to see those things, provide all the supporting proof documentation, and then we'll complete that process all the way up to the end, right? And so if they come back to us in 2 months and say, we need some more proof, or we're going to accept this but not accept this, we're going to continue to go back and go through some of these steps again to get that client in the best possible state that they can be. And so this is, when a client has a letter or a notice, this is what it looks like to work with us. And I'll tell you, it can make your life as a tax professional a whole lot easier. When they get that notice, that you got a team of experts ready to help that is truly professional at doing this, because this is all they do every single day. The second part of our service is the identity theft restoration. And identity theft restoration that we provide is included for tax-related problems. Say, for instance, you may have already started filing tax returns and you might get one of those identity theft rejects that says, hey, someone's already filed a tax return, with this social. In those situations, we're going to go back and do some extra identity theft work to make sure that they don't have their identity compromised in other areas. But they might also have identity theft problems outside of taxes. Maybe they had a credit card stolen, a bank account compromised, maybe someone tried to buy a house pretending to be them. Whatever identity theft problem the client might face, we help through all of those situations too. And so a lot of your clients, today, and maybe even you, purchase something like LifeLock that protects your identity. And the nice thing about Protection Plus is it includes that restoration service as part of the benefit package. And a lot of times, with both of these services, I like to give you a case study, but in the interest of time, and because I know that I talk a lot, I'm not going to go through a case study today. But you can imagine, I'm sure, unfortunately, a lot of us have experienced some kind of identity theft incident. Same way as with the tax notice, it creates uncertainty, creates anxiety, and it's a way for you as their tax and financial professional to provide them with some extra security in situations that might come up like this. The final service that's part of our package is our tax preparation guarantee. And what this means is that we provide a $2,500 guarantee on your work. So if there was ever a mistake made by you or by someone that works for you, by a tax professional, the person preparing the tax return, we actually will reimburse for additional taxes, penalties, and interest up to $2,500. So I'll be honest, most of you do an outstanding job. This benefit gets used the least of all of our benefits, but it's one of the most valuable in the way you can communicate your business to your clients. To be able to communicate to one of your current clients or one of your future clients that every single tax return you file is backed by a $2,500 tax preparation guarantee, it's a pretty good statement. It gives you the ability to compete with somebody like a TurboTax that has the guarantees about these calculations. To be able to have a formal guarantee on your work communicates that they can trust you, that they don't have to worry that they should come to your tax office rather than doing something else. And so our Protection Plus program inside of TaxWise, the integration that you can turn on, includes all three of those benefits. It includes the tax audit defense, it includes the identity theft restoration, and it includes that tax preparation guarantee. And the way that it works inside of TaxWise is that you can purchase it for your business. And so we charge you $10 for every 1040 return you file. If you do business returns, so 1065s, 1120s, 1120Ss, we charge $75 for each business return. And then what I would encourage you to do is you change your tax prep fees. Most tax offices choose to raise their 1040 prep fees by somewhere between $10 and $25. And then what they communicate to those clients is every single tax return that we file is backed by our $1 million tax audit defense, includes identity theft restoration service, and we stand behind our work. We guarantee it for $2,500. It's a way for you to communicate that to a client without having to sell them something extra, right? And so for that $10 for a 1040 return, it works for most offices to be able to work that into their fees. You raise your tax prep fees a little bit. And then on the business return side, what we've found for business return clients, and I'm sure you've experienced this too, is that, a 1040 client they're concerned about getting their biggest refund, right? They want the biggest refund that they can get. They want to make sure that they've gotten every deduction they can get, all of those things. But most of your business clients, they're more concerned with, okay, I don't want to have to deal with this. I don't ever want to have a problem. Please make sure there's nothing I need to do. They're more concerned about that peace of mind, knowing that they don't want to deal with an unexpected incident. They don't want to deal with a large audit for their business that might cost them $5,000 that they didn't budget for. And so we find that, both on the 1040 side and on the business return side, clients truly do appreciate it. When you can present that your firm includes these services as part of your tax practices, it provides enormous value to your clients. And one of the things that we've done, over the last few years is we've taken that and turned it into some data. And what we found is that tax professionals that use our firm level program experience 11.5% growth per year business growth. And so that's in the number of tax returns filed. So, let's say that, you filed 200 tax returns this year and started using Protection Plus. Let's say you put that information on your website, that, you provide $1 million tax audit defense with your tax services, that you include identity theft restoration, that you guarantee your work. People are probably going to see your website. Maybe they look at other websites and they go, everything looks pretty similar, but hey, this person, they guarantee their work. They provide me this tax audit defense. I'm going there, right? And that's the thinking behind this. This gives you some leverage and power in the way that you can market to clients, both as a retention strategy and as a growth strategy. And so for those of you that are looking to have some growth in your business, this is a great way for you to think about doing that. Put information on your website, on social media, and heck, after you get signed up with us, we provide you with all kinds of free digital marketing materials so that you can do that, so that you can have posts ready to go for your social media platforms, so that you can send emails to clients and prospective clients, so that you have information and logos and icons that you can put on your website. But that's one of the reasons that tax professionals love to use our service, especially with TaxWise, is that they've seen a lot of growth in their business because of how they market their firm with Protection Plus. The second thing that is just worth pointing out in the season of the world that we live in right now is there's been a lot of talk in the last 2 to 3 years about enforcement efforts at the IRS. With the Inflation Reduction Act that passed a couple years ago, and there's been a couple modifications and changes with the IRS communicating pretty heavily in the last year about them going after partnerships and S-corp returns, which have been, according to the IRS, they've been under audited for the last 15 or 20 years. There's a lot going on in our industry that creates some fear and uncertainty for a taxpayer, right? That it's and I think not just for a taxpayer to create that fear and uncertainty, but even for your business to think about, okay, doing taxes might create more challenges in 3 or 5 years than it does right now, because the IRS is increasing those enforcement efforts. And so now maybe I get this percentage of my returns get a notice where, well, I have to reasonably expect that's going to go up as the IRS is refocusing on enforcement again. I think that they've allocated, it's just over 40 billion. I think it's 41 or 43 billion dollars towards enforcement, from that Inflation Reduction Act. And when I last checked at the beginning of January, so far they've spent 0.7%, of the enforcement money, which isn't a surprise. The enforcement happens a little bit later than some of the technology improvements and some of the other investments they're making. But as you look forward to the next few years, those are some of the changes that we know are coming, right? Enforcement efforts at the IRS, they're going to increase. There's going to be more notices, more audits. We've seen that for 1040s already, the way that they've changed their systems so that when those 1040 returns get in, those CP notices, you think about the quantity of CP notices now compared to 10 years ago, and they're probably 6 or 7 times as many. They're up to 170 million notices a year that the IRS sends out. And so as you think about those things for your business, whether it's your decision as well, Protection Plus is a great way for me to take advantage of this by promoting my business in this way and by saving myself some of that time and work in this way. It's something that I'd encourage all you to think about, because there might be other strategies that you approach that situation, but the tax professionals that approach that situation proactively are going to be the ones that are most able to deal with the changes as they come, over the next few years. Now, I'm going to end here in just a minute because I know that I'm close to my time, but I do want to point out a couple things just real quick. I didn't have it here because we don't have a whole lot of users that are on the other program anymore, but TaxWise does also support a program where you can sell Protection Plus to clients on a return by return basis. Now, rather than that being $10 per 1040 return, it's $59.95 for each 1040 return. And so, it's a little different, right? On this firm level one that most of our users use, you are able to buy it for your business. You present it to your clients as if this is included with your service because you already bought it for your business. It's not something you're trying to sell to one of your clients. But there is another option in TaxWise where you could choose to do that. We call it the per return program, where you could sell Protection Plus on a return by return basis. And then rather than communicating to a client, this is part of my service, this is included with what I do, you could say, hey, if you'd like to add this service, it's going to be $59.95. We can add it to a tax return. And so we still have a few legacy customers on that program. It's still integrated with TaxWise. And so that's another option for you. But again, we find that most tax professionals are much more comfortable and find a lot more success with the idea of it being included with the services you already provide. And for that $10 and $75 per return fees, it tends to work really well. Now, I'm going to turn it back over to Ryan in just a second, but if you have questions, if you want to get signed up, this is the perfect time to sign up for this tax year. As you're starting to file these tax returns, this is when it makes sense to get started with Protection Plus, so that you are ready to communicate to all the clients that come over the next couple months that tax audit defense, identity theft restoration, and that guarantee is part of your tax practice. And so if you've got questions about that, or if you want to reach out to us to say, I'd like help making sure that it's set up right, we'll take you through an onboarding call to make sure that we get you all those marketing materials you need and that you're able to integrate it successfully into your TaxWise software. Feel free to call us, reach out to us. We are happy to help with all of those things. But I think that I'll bring Ryan back here for a minute. I know he's got some things to talk about, and then we'll get to some questions at the end.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for going over Protection Plus. When I think back to my days when I was a tax preparer, the most unsettling thing that you could get was an audit letter from the IRS. And while you did go over many of the great benefits, just that peace of mind of knowing that you have someone that has your back, that's going to help you if you do run into a tough situation, just a great product. I really appreciate you taking a little bit of time in order to teach me. It's been a while since I've worked with Protection Plus, so it's really nice to learn that these packages, there's many different ways you can use it, and should be really helpful to anyone who's preparing a multitude of tax returns. Now, to bring home this presentation, it looks like we have just a little bit of time left today. I'm going to do a very quick overview of TaxWise Mobile. And then in about, I'd say 7-8 minutes here, we will open this up to the Q&A session and make sure that every single question that y'all may have asked or will have are going to get answered. But before we go to the Q&A, I do want to take a couple minutes on TaxWise Mobile. You can see by my slide here, TaxWise Mobile, as it sounds, is something that you can use from your phone, but it's always very important to point out that this can also be done through a web browser. And before I go in and start showing you exactly how this is going to function, let's first talk about what this is. So this is really going to be two tools that are going to be built into the same place. And the two tools that this is going to be is, one, this is going to be a place where your clients can go and input their financial situation, which you can kind of see on some of the slides here. We have income, we have some other items that have to do with tax returns. But what this is going to give them, and I'm going to walk you through this process from start to finish, is it is going to give them an estimated refund or maybe an estimated amount due that they're going to go on their taxes. And this is really the first benefit, that you can embed this onto your website, or you can send this to your clients individually, or even your prospects. And you can use this as to say, hey, if you go with us, here's a refund. It's going to give you an estimated amount. It'll give you a bracket, and it'll clearly say it's an estimate, so you don't feel like you have to deliver on the amount that's shown, but should be a way to get your clients excited about getting their taxes done with you, especially if they're getting a refund. And the second thing that this is going to do is the data that they input into these various fields, well, we are going to capture it, or more specifically, your firm is going to capture this data automatically. So if you are using TaxWise and you are creating a new return for a new client that maybe used the mobile site here, you will be able to have that return started with the data that they've entered. And I know I've thrown a lot at you so far, so let's go ahead and jump out of PowerPoint. And I actually want to go into my web browser. And I want to show you what this looks like in real time. And keep in mind, this is the mobile view if you go through your phone. But like I was saying earlier, you can go through your web browser. What most firms do that are using TaxWise Mobile is they are embedding it onto their website. And I actually have someone that I partnered with that uses our mobile site. They're called iTax Mobile. They're a firm out of Georgia. And importantly, when I click on the link to their website, you're going to see that there is a place where it says, start your refund estimate here. When we go and click on this, well, this is going to link back to our mobile site. And a couple important things to point out before we start going through segment by segment what your clients are going to see. Even though this is done through a Wolters Kluwer product, through the TaxWise engine, you can see that this is branded to their firm specific name, their firm specific colors. Really the only place, the only place that you're even going to see TaxWise is just within the URL. Everything else is branded to their specific firm. So you can see that it fits with the rest of the website, right? But when it comes to actually using this tool, you can see that we have a few different categories up above here. We have about you, we have income, we have expenses, and we have results. Well, this process is going to take maybe 5 minutes if they know their information. If they're not quite sure, they have to go search for their W-2s. Might take a little bit longer, but I'd say on average about 5 minutes. And importantly, this is customizable. You can really choose the fields that are going to appear here. But for iTax Mobile, I'm going to go ahead and use the fields that they have set up today. Let's go ahead and walk through this. Well, which state did you live in? This is going to help their refund estimate calculate, okay, what are the state taxes that you owe? I'm going to use my home state of Virginia here. And I'm going to say, yes, I did live here for all 12 months. I click next. It's starting to try to figure out our filing status. I'm going to click single right here. Next, are you a widower? We're going to go no. Then we're going to input our age. Now, as we're inputting this data, it's very important to know that this data is not only being captured right now for their refund estimate, but this is the data that's going to flow into TaxWise if we do bring them on as a client. Now, I'm going to keep this with the most basic option so we can kind of quickly get through this, as I know we are very time dependent right now. But as we go through, you can see we're done with the About You section. It's asking us for common types of income. And for this example, I'm just going to say I have some employment income. You could check multiple boxes, as you can see here. But for this example, we're just going to go with employment. We're going to click next, and it's going to ask us some very basic items. And I'll just go ahead and input some information right here. We'll put in some wages. We'll put in some withholdings. We'll leave combat pay blank. We'll just say this is the only W-2. It's going to ask us for expenses. Now you can see there are some options here: education, IRA, student loans, and there's other qualified. And keep in mind, you can customize this to have the specific fields that you want to see on this page, but I'm just going to leave this blank for the time being. When I do this, you can see we're getting our results. It's showing us the estimated taxes due, the taxes that you paid. This is really the withholdings, and then you get a range. And the reason you get a range instead of just a number is we don't want you all to feel like Well, the refund estimator said this amount, and your clients think, well, I have to get this amount back. This is what you said. We want to make this very clear that there will be some other additional data. This could change. But so we give them the range, and then very importantly, we say that this is an estimate, that you cannot rely on this. And this is not saying that you're going to get this specific dollar amount back. We just want to make sure that you're covering all of your bases and you're not over-promising your clients, as sometimes their financial situation can change the more that we learn about it. And this is really the first benefit. This is the advertising side. If you go with us, looks like you're probably going to get a refund. And this is the carrot to get them to go ahead and pull the trigger and use you as their tax preparer. Now, where it gets really clever and really neat is, like I alluded to earlier, is we've captured all of this data. And if we were to go into TaxWise, you can see that there's a section for mobile returns. And typically clients that are using this are new clients. I guess it's not out of the question that an existing client could use this, but we've kind of attacked this from the viewpoint that these are new clients and we want this data to go into the new returns that we start. Now, I have already gone and started a new return where I input some mobile information. And if we open up this return within TaxWise, you can see items like their name, their address. We have some W-2 sections created right here. We even have a 1099 section automatically created within our return. And this is meant to really get you through the onboarding process and getting you through the main information worksheet quicker than if you had to start from scratch. And this is going to really help you get through those tax returns a little bit quicker, as it's going to remove that main step that you're taking on each and every new return that you start, right? We always have to input what's their name, what's their address, what's their filing status. These are things that must be done in order for us to e-file their returns. And I have worked with a lot of firms, and the primary way that they have grown is through word of mouth. But sometimes people have expressed frustration that we're not getting our name out enough, we're growing slower than we want. This is a relatively inexpensive tool that can be used to just embed directly on your website or send out through text messages, where you can go and advertise your firm, and then not only advertise your firm, but get through these returns quicker. So I'm going to jump back into PowerPoint just to kind of go through the quick hitters of what the benefits are one last time, and then we'll go ahead and open this up to the Q&A. You are going to capture that key data before you even decide if you're going to do their taxes, if they're going to take you on as a client. This is data that you will always have. So even if they don't go with you this year, you will still have the means to go and contact them in the future if you're trying to bring them on as a client. You're going to import this data. I think we just went over this, not going to go over it in great detail, but this is going to also be your interactive advertising tool. Very nice little tidbit, gives your clients or your potential clients a reason to go to your website. And then lastly, do want to point out, we went through a current client of ours, TaxWise Mobile, but this is very customizable. And if you need to customize this to Spanish language, we will have those options as well. So with all that being said, that's going to conclude my part of the presentation on mobile. But we do have about 8 minutes here, where if you have a question for me, you have a question for Laura, you have a question for Brady, we will do our best to go ahead and answer those questions for you. So with all that being said, Amar, do you know if any questions came in that we could answer for the people on this presentation today?
Certainly. So this question is for Laura, actually. Your business process, this is from Arce. I hope I said that right. This question is for Laura. If your business process is tax representation and getting clients in compliance with their taxes, do you recommend Textellent? I do get referral clients for tax work regarding tax representation, and I would like to keep in touch with those clients, but I'm not a high volume tax preparation business. Thank you.
So if I think what you're asking is about the TCPA regulations. So if these are former clients that you haven't had communication with for a long time, no, you shouldn't really be texting them because you don't really have their, input. I mean, their acceptance. But what a lot of people will do is send out something for their most recent clients that they haven't heard from, and say, hey, we're introducing this new service. We'd love to be able to help you. This is to better serve you. Would you be willing to opt in? and then they can say, you know, yes, I will, or whatever word you want to use. And that's a great way to get people to opt in. Another great way that all of you who have clients should think about is in your agreement with your clients. Just make sure you add a statement about, you know, here, check here, so that we can text you to let you know the status of your return. So most people will say, absolutely, we want to be texted about that. So it's a great way to sort of build up your marketing list. But with current clients, you know, that's one of the reasons we suggest doing things like a Valentine's, you know, message or a happy holiday message. As long as you're not, you know, sort of soliciting something and you're just sort of saying, you know, hey, I'm thinking about you, that kind of thing is okay. So that's why we suggest doing that sort of thing and not trying to sell anything if you haven't talked to these clients for a long time. I hope that answers your question.
That was a very comprehensive answer. Thank you so much. Beyond that, I don't actually see any other questions, so please feel free to drop them in the chat if you can, or if you think of it later, we can always follow up. But I really appreciate everybody joining today, and I hope people learned something. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much. And I hope you all have a great, not only weekend, but I know tax season is right around the corner. I hope this is as stress-free as possible for you all and also a very lucrative time. We will be hosting another one of these in the future, so please be on the lookout for that. And just one last time, want to thank everybody and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ryan.